Picture this. You're standing on the cobblestones in Milan.
Oh, yeah.
And it is mid-July. The temperature is pushing like well past 90 degrees, and the air is just thick.
Right, that heavy, sweltering heat that just radiates up through your shoes.
Exactly. It makes you reconsider every life choice that led you away from a powerful air conditioning unit.
Definitely.
You are already exhausted from days of intensive sightseeing, battling the crowds around the Duomo. But then the scene shifts.
A total reset.
Right. You step onto a bright red train carriage, the doors slide shut, and that concrete jungle just fades away.
Yeah, it's a huge relief.
Suddenly, you are winding your way up into the crisp, blindingly white snowy peaks and those deep glacial lakes of the Swiss Alps.
It's beautiful.
You slide the window down, and this freezing, pure alpine breeze hits your face, instantly erasing the memory of that Milanese heat. Welcome to the Travel Podcast by ExcursionPass.
Glad to be here.
Today's deep dive into the source material is, well, we are mapping out exactly how to pull off the legendary day trip from Milan to St. Moritz via the UNESCO-awarded Bernina Red Train.
Yeah, that contrast between the sweltering city and the glacial peaks is exactly why this specific route is considered the ultimate escape hatch for travelers.
It really is.
And we have an extensive stack of sources to guide this deep dive today. We are analyzing standard group tour itineraries from an operator called Tato Travel, filtering through like thousands of detailed traveler reviews.
So many reviews.
Yeah, thousands. And we're also examining a premium private travel option directly from ExcursionPass.
Right, getting the full spectrum.
Exactly. The goal is to strip away the glossy marketing and give you the unvarnished reality of what traversing the Alps in a single day actually demands of you.
Because honestly, you're probably looking at a 12 to 13-hour itinerary on paper right now, and your brain is screaming, is that a relaxing vacation or is that an exhausting marathon?
It's a very fair question.
It's the ultimate traveler's dilemma, right? You want to see the ancient glaciers, you want those stunning photos, but you absolutely do not want to return to your hotel feeling like you need a vacation from your vacation.
Nobody wants that.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because as travelers who know this journey inside and out, we are going to share every single detail, the logistical hurdles, the sensory shifts, and the completely unexpected roadblocks.
Every little thing.
So that by the end of this deep dive, you will know exactly what you are signing up for.
Yeah, because that pristine alpine escape comes with a geographical catch, the sheer physics of getting a group of human beings up a vertical mountain range.
It's not easy.
No, it's not. Before you can even look at a glacier from a train window, you have to cross the vast, flat Lombardy plains and climb into the rugged Valtellina Valley.
Which is quite a trek.
It is. Let's break down the logistics of the standard Tato travel group option, which is the baseline experience for most people. Prices fluctuate slightly based on group size, but you are generally looking at an entry point of around $161 per adult.
Right.
You join a group capped at 48 people, meeting up bright and early at the bus stop, right next to the Excelsior Hotel Gallia in Piazza Duca d'Aosta.
And let me tell you, Piazza Duca d'Aosta is heavily trafficked, chaotic, and loud early in the morning.
Oh, absolutely.
And we need to be ruthlessly transparent about the physical toll of this timeline. A full 12 hours breaks down into rough thirds.
Yeah, it's a long day.
It is a solid 3 hours on a bus, getting from Milan to the base of the mountains, a 3-hour ride on the Bernina Red Train itself, and then, and this is the kicker, a brutal 3-hour bus ride all the way back down to Milan in the evening.
9 hours of sitting in moving vehicles in a single day is a massive withdrawal from your energy bank.
Yeah.
It really requires stamina.
It does. And I'm going to be completely honest here. No amount of beautiful scenery makes a 6-hour round-trip bus ride appealing to me.
I get that.
That sounds like a long, painful commute, not a holiday. And anyone who has ever seen the roads in the Italian or Swiss Alps knows they were not designed for massive, heavy, 48-passenger commercial coaches.
No, they definitely were not.
We are talking about terrifyingly narrow, winding, switchback roads carved right into the sides of cliffs. I'm just picturing myself gripping the armrest in absolute terror while a giant bus swings around a hairpin turn over a sheer vertical drop.
It's intense.
Like, how does the destination possibly justify that kind of journey?
Well, the anxiety of those mountain roads is a very real psychological barrier for a lot of people. But the thousands of reviews we analyzed highlight an interesting phenomenon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the unsung heroes of this entire itinerary are the bus drivers. They essentially function as heavy machinery operators working on a tightrope.
That's a great way to put it.
Reviewers consistently single out drivers with names like Salvatore, Glauco, and Fabrizio. These individuals aren't just driving, they are managing the physics of a massive vehicle against hostile terrain with surgical precision.
I actually have to read the review that perfectly captures the sheer terror mixed with awe.
Oh, please do.
So a traveler with the username maps333683152241 literally wrote that they felt the, quote, breath of death on every turn.
The breath of death, wow.
The breath of death. But they followed it up by stating that their driver, Fabrizio, managed every single turn fabulously, leaving the entire bus astonished.
That's incredible.
And he did it with a constant relaxed smile on his face.
See, it highlights the extreme contrast of the experience. You are forced to surrender control in an incredibly high-stakes environment, but you are caught by the total reassurance of a master at work.
Yeah, you really have to trust them.
Reviewer Eugenia called driver Salvatore a master of the narrow switchback mountain roads, while another praised Glauco for providing a profound sense of safety.
That's huge.
It is. The anxiety is part of the toll you pay, but it is managed by absolute professionals.
Right. The drivers keep you alive, but it's the tour guides who keep you sane.
Absolutely.
Guides like Monica, Maja, and Alejandro. When you are trapped in a confined space with 47 strangers for that long, the guide essentially becomes like an endurance coach.
That is so true.
The reviews repeatedly show that the real value of that $160 ticket isn't just the transportation, it's the psychological management of the crowd.
Right.
Maja, for instance, was praised for constantly pointing out upcoming sites and photo ops, ensuring no one missed a fleeting waterfall or valley view.
And that proactive pacing is vital. A 12-hour tour can easily descend into exhaustion and crankiness.
Oh, for sure.
The guides crack jokes, they provide historical and geographical context, and they manipulate the timeline so the group isn't hyperfixated on the clock.
They really set the tone.
They transform a grueling transit period into a shared engaging narrative. But the bus ultimately is just the delivery mechanism. It gets you to the engineering marvel that makes the whole day worthwhile. The UNESCO-awarded Bernina Red train.
Yes, and this isn't your standard commuter rail.
Yeah.
We are talking about one of the most spectacular, physics-defying rail journeys on the planet.
It really is.
And the sensory shift from a cramped bus to this train is jarring in the best way possible. Let's look at the standard second-class tickets that come with the Taito Travel Group Tour.
Okay.
A lot of travelers immediately assume second class means a subpar experience. But these specific carriages have a massive, crucial advantage for anyone who wants to take photos.
Oh, this is the best part.
The windows pull down?
Yes. The ability to remove the glass barrier completely changes how you interact with the environment.
Imagine you have just spent 3 hours looking through the tinted, sealed glass of a bus. You step onto the train, it starts carving its way into a vertical ice-scape, and you pull that window down.
Just feeling that air.
The temperature drops dramatically. You feel the freezing, thin alpine air rush into the cabin. You stick your camera directly out the window, and you get a perfectly crisp, glare-free shot of a massive, ancient glacier.
It's amazing.
No window reflections, no smudges ruining the shot. You are completely immersed in the raw elements.
It is a visceral experience. You're no longer just an observer watching a nature documentary on a screen. You're physically feeling the altitude change.
Exactly.
And maximizing that visual experience requires strategy. We uncovered a critical logistical tip from reviewer Eugenia.
Oh, the seating tip.
Right. She advises that you absolutely must try to secure a seat on the right side of the train.
The golden rule of the Bernina Express. But why the right side specifically?
Well, it comes down to how the track was laid over a century ago. The train hugs the mountain face, winding and spiraling to gain altitude.
Makes sense.
While the left side still offers beautiful, steep rock faces and tight valleys, the right side consistently looks outward, over the precipice.
Oh.
It opens up to the sweeping, dramatic vistas, the deep glacial lakes, and the sprawling valleys below. The architecture of the route heavily favors the right side for the sweeping cinematic views.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, though. You are so mesmerized by these sprawling glacial valleys and the rush of cold air that you completely forget a major logistical reality.
Uh-oh.
You are traversing an international border, you are leaving the European Union and Italy and crossing into Switzerland.
Which brings us to the passport panic.
The story of reviewer Mohammed.
Exactly. Mohammed posted a wildly enthusiastic review detailing a complete logistical nightmare.
It sounds so stressful.
He and his entire group got to the meeting point in Milan, realized they had left all their passports back at their hotel, completely panicked, and had to scramble to retrieve them, delaying their entire morning.
Just the worst feeling.
And the punchline to this massive spike in adrenaline. After all that terror, neither the Italian nor the Swiss border guards even bothered to check their passports that day. They just waved the train right through. What's fascinating here is the illusion of borderless travel in modern Europe. Because these routes are heavily trafficked by tourists, the crossing often feels entirely casual, almost non-existent.
Right.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, border control relies heavily on randomized, unannounced spot checks. Mohammed's experience is a terrible baseline to plan your trip around.
I would never want to be sitting on that train sweating, wondering if today is the day a guard decides to walk down the aisle.
Precisely. The official, non-negotiable requirement of the tour operators and the border authorities is that a current, valid passport or an official EU ID card must be on your person on the day of travel.
You just have to have it.
If you test your luck and happen to hit a spot check without documentation, your entire 12-hour adventure ends abruptly at the border crossing.
That would be devastating.
You will be denied entry, pulled off the tour, and left to figure out your own expensive, complicated journey back to Milan. The risk-to-reward ratio is 0. Pack the passport.
The anxiety of the border crossing alone would ruin the view for me. So the passport is securely in our bag. We fought our way to the right side window seat. We've survived the breath of death on the hairpin bus turns. And now the red train finally slows down.
You made it.
We step off the carriage and find ourselves deposited right into the middle of St. Moritz. It's known globally as a billionaire's playground.
It really is.
When you transition from the rugged, raw, freezing wilderness of the train ride straight into a hub of extreme luxury, what is that actual experience like?
The juxtaposition is striking. You go from raw geological power to manicured, pristine wealth. St. Moritz sits at an elevation of roughly 6,000 feet, perched right on the edge of a stunning, glassy alpine lake.
So picturesque?
The itinerary intentionally builds in unstructured free time here. The goal is to let you decompress, stretch your legs after hours of transit, and absorb the atmosphere.
Which you definitely need by that point.
Exactly. The tour guides, like Francesca, often point travelers toward local staples, highly recommending places like the Hauser restaurant for lunch, a suggestion strongly backed by multiple traveler reviews.
It sounds idyllic for a midsummer escape from Milan, but I have a major concern about the timing of this trip.
What's that?
We are pitching this as a July getaway. What is the reality if a traveler books this trip in late October? Does St. Moritz maintain that bustling, luxurious energy year-round?
That is a critical vulnerability in the itinerary, and it's something explicitly warned about in the fine print of the source material.
Really?
Yes, the region operates on distinct seasonal rhythms. If you travel during the low season, defined strictly as September through November, the entire landscape of the town changes.
How so?
This period is the dead zone between the summer hiking crowds leaving and the winter skiing elite arriving. Because of this lull, the local economy essentially goes on pause. Many of the famous high-end boutiques, luxury shops, and even prominent restaurants close their doors completely.
Oh, wow. So you arrive expecting a lively hub of luxury, and instead it's like stepping onto an incredibly expensive, gorgeous movie set after the director has yelled cut and all the actors have gone home for the season.
That's a great way to describe it.
The lake is still stunning, the mountains still provide an incredible backdrop for your photos, but the town itself is hollowed out. If you go in October, you aren't doing any window shopping at Prada.
Definitely not.
You need to be prepared to bring your own entertainment or just focus your energy entirely on finding a quiet cafe, ordering a rich Swiss hot chocolate, and staring at the mountains.
The movie set analogy is incredibly accurate. You have to actively adjust your expectations to appreciate the profound quiet of the low season rather than expecting a bustling resort.
Right.
But for a certain type of traveler, that utter silence and lack of crowds is exactly the premium experience they are seeking. This actually brings us to the psychological divide in how people want to travel and the alternative option hidden in our sources.
Right. Because up until this point, we have been talking about a very specific type of travel.
Yes, we have. Managing the energy of 48 strangers, listening to a guide crack jokes on a microphone, elbowing someone to get the right side window seat, and dealing with a massive bus at a chaotic Milanese plaza.
A lot of moving parts.
That is what you get for $160. But what if a traveler hears all of that and thinks, that sounds like a logistical nightmare. I want to control every single aspect of this environment.
That desire for absolute control is where the ExcursionPass Private Day Tour enters the picture. This is the VIP upgrade, and it fundamentally alters the mechanics of the day.
It's a totally different vibe.
It is. You bypass the 48-passenger commercial bus entirely. Instead, a private luxury van picks you up directly at your hotel or chosen location.
That's convenient.
Very. The tour leader managing a huge crowd is replaced by a dedicated private guide driver whose sole focus is your group. And critically, this package upgrades you from the second-class carriages with the open windows to the first-class seats on the Bernina Red train.
Okay, so what does this all mean for the budget? The price jump is staggering. It's significant, yes.
We go from roughly $160 for the group tour to €799 for adults and €499 for children on the ExcursionPass private option.
That's a big leap.
That is an enormous 400% premium. I look at those numbers and I have to ask, is a slightly softer seat and not having to listen to other people talk really worth an €800 price tag?
This raises an important question about the hidden currencies of travel. We tend to measure trips solely in dollars or euros, but the real currencies are your stamina, your focus, and your time.
That's a really good point.
When you analyze what that €799 actually buys you, it is not just a softer cushion. You are purchasing the complete elimination of friction. It is the psychology of frictionless travel.
Frictionless travel, so you are paying to remove the stress triggers.
Exactly. Consider the friction points we discussed. The low-level panic of navigating public transit to reach Piazza Duca d'Aosta by 6 a.m. eliminated. You walk out of your hotel lobby into a waiting vehicle.
That alone is huge.
The visceral terror of feeling the breath of death on a giant, lumbering bus, gone. You are in a nimble, high-end van driven by a private chauffeur.
Okay, I see the appeal.
And the frustration of wanting to ask a specific historical question, but the guide is busy wrangling 47 other people. Removed.
Yeah.
You have an expert captive to your curiosity.
And the upgrade to first class on the train changes the sensory experience, too.
Yeah.
Yes, you lose the ability to physically open the windows like you can in second class, which changes the photography dynamic.
Right, there's a trade-off.
But what you gain are sweeping, panoramic, curved glass roofs that extend over your head. The seats are significantly wider, the cabin is vastly quieter, and you aren't fighting anyone for a view.
It's incredibly peaceful.
You experience the vastness of the Alps in complete, uncrowded isolation. It changes the day from a rigorous endurance test into a seamless, highly personalized narrative. You aren't just looking at luxury when you finally arrive in St. Moritz. The entire 12 hours becomes an exercise in luxury.
It protects your energy. For families trying to manage young children or couples who want a romantic anniversary experience rather than a shared group trauma, removing that friction is highly valuable.
Definitely.
You return to Milan tired from the altitude, perhaps, but not depleted by the logistics?
We have covered a massive amount of ground today. Looking at everything we've unpacked, there are clearly two distinct philosophies for conquering the Swiss Alps from Milan.
Two very different paths.
You have the lively, shared endurance test energy of the 48-person bus, which offers an incredible financial value and a highly managed atmosphere for roughly $160.
A great deal if you're up for it.
Or you choose the pristine, isolated luxury of the private van and panoramic first-class views for €800. Both paths lead to the same glaciers.
True.
Both paths offer that vital escape from the suffocating concrete heat of Milan, making the Bernina Red Train an undeniable must-do experience.
The destination remains spectacular regardless of the tax you pay to get there. And the fundamental rules of the journey apply to everyone.
What are those again?
You know you absolutely cannot gamble with your passport. It must be packed. You know the strategic advantage of the right side window seat. And you know to psychologically brace yourself for the reality of those vertical mountain switchbacks.
And most importantly, you know to respect the heavy machinery skills of your bus drivers.
Always respect the drivers navigating the breath of death. But as we close out this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought that reframes this entire journey.
Okay, let's hear it.
We've spent a lot of time talking about luxury, comfort, and breathtaking views. But when you are sitting in your heated carriage, holding your phone up to snap a photo of a frozen valley, consider the sheer, terrifying hostility of the environment outside that glass.
It is essentially an unlivable landscape.
It is vertical, freezing, and lethal. And the
Hmm.
railway you are riding on was not built with modern laser drilling or computer-guided helicopter drops.
Oh, right. It's really old.
The Bernina line was constructed over a century ago, opening in 1910. Human beings carved a functioning, spiraling railway through solid granite and glacial ice using basic hand tools, raw dynamite, and sheer, stubborn willpower.
They conquered the impossible just so we could take a day trip.
They tamed the extreme danger of the Alps and turned it into a consumable luxury. So when you look out over those sheer drops, you aren't just looking at untouched nature.
Right.
You are riding on top of an audacious, almost insane piece of human engineering. It makes you wonder what other impossible, hostile boundaries we are currently trying to conquer today, just so future generations can glide through them without a second thought.
That is a heavy, incredible perspective to take with you as you cross the Alps. A massive thank you to everyone listening for joining us on this deep dive. We hope this breakdown gives you the exact blueprint you need to book your own adventure, escape the city heat, and see those ancient glaciers for yourself. Until next time, keep exploring.